titled Struggling with Sin. And it says, "So the trouble is not with the law, which is the 10 Commandments, for it is spiritual and good. The trouble is with me, for I am all too human, a slave to sin. I don't really understand myself, for I want to do what is right, but I don't do it. Instead, I do what I hate. But if I know that what I'm doing is wrong, this shows that I agree that the law is good." So he knows that it was made for goodness. "So I'm not the one doing wrong. It is the sin living in me that does it. And I know nothing good lives in me, that is, in my sinful nature. I want to do what is right, but I can't. I want to do what is good, but I don't. I don't want to do what is wrong, but I do it anyway. But if I do what I don't want to do, I am not really the one doing wrong. It is sin living in me that does it. I have discovered the principle of life, that when I want to do what is right, I inevitably do what is wrong. I love God's law with all my heart, but there is another power within me that is at war with my mind. This power makes me a slave to the sin that is still within me." I love that he said that it makes me slave to the sin that is still within me. This is Paul speaking, if you're not familiar, for anybody who's listening.
Yeah.
He's saying that the sin that is still within me, when we come to Christ, he forgives everything.
Yeah.
But we still have that kind of war between our human side and our spiritual side that we have given to God. I mean, we want to do the right thing.
Yeah.
We don't want to make mistakes, and we want to please God because he is our Father and he's done so much for us.
Yeah.
But I think that's why the Bible tells us that we must daily pick up our cross.
Yeah.
We daily have to die to our sinful natures. And it says that God has instantly taken that away when we decide on a relationship with him. But our minds and our thoughts and our hearts, there's still some weeding out and working out that God's got to do.
Yeah.
And if Paul, one of the greatest apostles God had, is wrestling within his nature of maybe who he was, the things that he had done, and now it's all still coming back up to the surface. So he has to remind himself. But what I love about this is that he says, "Oh, what a miserable person I am. Who will free me from this life that is dominated by sin and death? Thank God. The answer is in Jesus Christ our Lord." So you see how it is. In my mind, I really want to obey God's law. But because of my sinful nature, I'm a slave to sin. If you continue reading in Romans 8, it talks about how we pursue our relationship with Christ, and we're no longer slaves to sin once we allow God to do the cleansing that needs to be done. But it's still a daily process because we think we're reminded.
Yeah.
God doesn't remember, but we're reminded by the things that we think, "Oh man, do you remember when you did that last week?"
Yeah.
Now you want to stand up on stage or, talk to people about how good God is. And I mean, that's not God's doing. That's just our minds.
Yeah.